Hey guys, I hope you're doing good and having a good summer. I'm here in Asheville, North Carolina, which is my hometown. Me and JJ and Mateo have been walking around, and I've had something that's been rolling through my mind. And it's conflict, but we're having a lot of conflicts on in our country right now. Like, we've got the coronavirus, to wear a mask or to not wear a mask, and people's viewpoints on that. We've got the Black Lives Matter, and defunding the police, and we've got statues. Should statues stay up or be taken down, depending on what that person did in their lifetime? All these things are going on, and I can't help but see all the different viewpoints in all of this, okay? And what I'm seeing is that people have a viewpoint, and then they'll take their viewpoint and collect people that share that viewpoint, okay? And then I also see people making statements like, I don't understand how anyone could think like this, or how anyone could see things that way. Like, I see it with masks even, that, oh, I'm not gonna wear a mask, or I don't know why anybody's wearing these masks, the coronavirus isn't a big deal, or why can't people just wear a mask? And everyone that has a viewpoint, I feel like right now in America we struggle to see the viewpoint of other people. And James, in James chapter 1, has something to say about this. And I want to look at that with you now. Because I feel like, and I don't know what's going on in your life right now, what conflicts you're experiencing, but I want us to be able to handle conflict well, okay? So let's look at this together. James chapter 1, verse 19, he says this: My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Then he goes on to say, because the human anger does not produce the righteousness that God requires. So he's saying there's a righteousness that God wants us to have, okay? It's a finished product that he wants for us. But anger is not the vehicle that will get us there. And right now, I don't know if you guys are looking around, but people are angry, people are upset. And it's normally coming from their viewpoint about a topic. And I think what James is telling us here is that we need to work towards understanding. And you know what? We're not going to get understanding without hearing other people's viewpoint. But social media right now is a war zone. Like, I think it is a mental war zone, because mentally, it's where people are at war with each other. Think about it like this. I'll see people, they will have a viewpoint or a stance. They will post that view or stance, supported with evidence, build like a little fort out of evidence that supports their thinking, and then they will find allies, people that agree with them. But what will also surface is people that do not agree with their viewpoint, and those will be the enemies. So I feel like this war zone is going on, where people are getting all upset and angry with each other, and I feel like we're missing it. But James has the key to unlock this, okay? And I want to share that with you today. And the reason that this is kind of working on me right now, and why I'm bringing it up with you guys, is because I feel like relationships are extremely important to God. God values people, and he tells us to value people. And when we're ready to write someone off for a viewpoint, I feel like that breaks God's heart. And it should break ours. Like, people are more than their viewpoint. And if we will only surround ourselves with people that think the way that we think, then we're never going to have a chance at understanding another person's perspective, okay? So, if we hear people say things, or if we think of things like, I don't see how anyone could think like this, or I don't see why people can't just wear a mask, or why do we have to wear a mask? I don't understand. I think when we hear that, or when we say that, we're seeing things that we don't understand. Like, admittedly, we're saying, I don't get this. And the only way to get it, I think, is to find a person that doesn't look like or think like you in regards to whatever that situation is, and ask them to share that viewpoint with you. And like James says, listen for understandings. Like, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. And I think that if we'll do that, we can understand. And with understanding comes compassion. And there's a lot that comes with understanding. And we get a different perspective. That's the word I was looking for. So, think about this. This is a perspective that I had the other day. Maybe everyone's right. Like right now, everyone has something to say. What if everyone is right? And the problem isn't people's viewpoint. The problem is that everyone's right about what someone else should do. They should do this, or if they would just do that, or if the they and them instead of us. When we think the problem is solely someone else, we give up responsibility and we give up the actual power to make a change. And that's scary to me. I feel like if we want to gain perspective, then we have to take responsibility. Not gain perspective. If we want to gain power, then we have to have responsibility. But as long as we think that the problems in our country are caused by other people and can only be solved if other people will do this, then we remain powerless. But if we will take responsibility and say, maybe I am the change that the world needs to see, then we do gain that power again. So, how's it going, man?
Gaining that power again.
Yeah, you're here for the power? Tell me what your thoughts are on this. Right now in America, I feel like people are saying, I'm hearing a lot of they and them statements, that if they would just do this, if these people would just do that, and if they would wear a mask, or if they wouldn't wear a mask, then that would solve the problem. And I think what's happening is we're showing up to arguments, or discussions rather, with the idea of if they would do something, then it would be better. And we fail to see that. If everyone shows up to the conversation just expecting someone else to change, then we're not going to hear anyone's viewpoint, and we're going to leave disappointed. Because if you're always the problem and I'm always the problem, but I'm not going to do what you say because I just want you to change, and you're not going to do what I say because you just want me to change, then the situation stays the same. But the minute I say, you know what, man, I really respect A, B, or C, but I really don't like C, E, and F. And you go, I never thought of it that way. Well, here's the problem I have with A, B, and C. And then I can go, I'm an A. That's something I could do. And I never saw that before, and I appreciate it. You go, you know what, that thing you said about Z, that's kind of, I feel like I can't do all the good the world needs, but I get what you're saying there. And that would bring me one step closer to actually caring about the person that's in front of me on a day-to-day basis, and I think I could do that little thing. That could make a difference in the world, right?
I actually respect to consider that someone is an individual, and it's not merely a strategic battle to gain dominance.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. Not to gain dominance, but I feel like we have a corporate problem, no doubt, right? It's a big thing, and it's a lot of people. And we're expecting some big something of people to do it, but we're all just a group of individuals. And it was caused by a group of individuals doing certain things. So if the group of individuals will change and do certain things differently, the problems will resolve. You know, like
They must be individuals, however, because many are not. And this truly is the crux of the matter, that they are representative of other people's ideas. They haven't really thought about it. So the path of reasoning that you're offering them won't compute. They never thought about it to begin with. They just know that if they tell you this, they get a prize. They get a like on their page. They're allowed to continue, so on and so forth. They get a pat on the back from their compartmentalized group. And that's really the concern.
Here's a
which is what
question
you're
for you.
addressing. But I'm not sure if they'll ever listen.
I agree. Is it a capacity issue, an ability issue, or is it just is it just like people just need the switch to come on again and go, I need to start thinking for myself?
It is fundamentally that someone just needs to think for themselves. Well, what does that mean? They haven't necessarily been given any instruction to that, but they only followed instruction.
Is that our schooling that does that?
Yes. Beyond that is the industrial media complex, and it is the vicarious observer. Right? I observe. The information comes to me. It is the established source. Now you are not as good as it. I don't respect you. See, you speak of respect, respecting other people's opinion, but they don't.
You're saying this has credibility.
Right. This source, that in which I trust, for whatever reason, that I will not question, but I will repeat, indicates that I dominate you. I'm better than you. You're wrong, period. So I will only tell you what it told me. But truthfully, I've never thought of it, right? I've never considered it for myself. And
so anything that comes from here, you take as gospel. You just take it as truth. If it comes from that media source. We just say, yeah, and we regurgitate, boom, like
Well,
little
these
mother
particular
bird.
individuals,
Clean it out. Yeah.
that are very subservient, and then they become representative. They're not self-actualized. They're representative.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it. They think that they're aligning with the winning team. See, fundamentally, they want to dominate. It's an attempt at dominance. So they say, oh, this will help me to dominate. This is the information. This is the dominant source. So all I have to do is align with the dominant source. Isn't that very religious and cultish in context?
It is.
I align with the dominant source, the higher power. So I must only assert higher power above you. And whatever you say is just wrong.
But I guess, I think that truth in anyone's hand is powerful.
Well, truth is self-evident, ultimately.
It should be.
But the
We
postmodernist
should
doesn't
arrive
think
there,
so.
right?
Right?
We
The
should
postmodernist says, I have my truth. And it
Yeah.
can be anything. And it's actually complete delusion.
It
The
is.
truth is something that we agree upon. This is here. We exist.
Yeah.
We have something to base something on.
Right.
But as you were alluding to in the beginning, that entirely breaks down when there's no way of listening. There's only the repetitious parrot of whatever the narrative has been presented by
Yeah.
whatever established source.
Yeah. Man, that's good.
So we can overcome that if we can
How?
analyze it and in real time just continue and persist.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's persistence because we can have an encounter with someone like this, right? And say, look, you're just being irrational. You haven't really thought about it. Look, it's not even good or bad. It's just here. Here's this set of points, and here's these set of points. Now we can analyze them and not be emotional and get upset. We don't have to fight each other. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
We don't even have to even come to any conclusions. Matter of fact, the joy is just thinking about it, right?
Sure.
So that can happen, right? But then they go right back to the source. And they'll endure that as they have. Consider the thousands of hours of programming that these people have endured. Thousands.
Yeah.
Since they've been born.
Yeah.
And it's very carefully contrived so as to create that personality that then submits and regurgitates.
Yeah.
And then upon you, shames you if you don't agree.
Yeah.
And then most people will give in to that shame. At least a critical mass has been reached. But also, those who are more aware have been called to action by the nature of this self-evident truth that these people need not be in power because they're only representative. They're not even thinking for themselves. So the power of democracy is that we all think for ourselves, we analyze and recognize the self-evident truth.
Yeah.
So irrational people will be marginalized eventually, just by virtue of them being irrational. And it's like, well, I thought about that and that doesn't make sense. And across a set of millions of people, generally, the rationality wins. But if they don't rationalize at all, then irrational becomes dominant, if we allow for it.
But is that where we're at?
Yes, critical mass has been reached. It's there. Notice how people they're detached from reality. They're here.
Yeah.
It's so hard to have a conversation, but they are engaged with that which informs
That
them.
flow of information.
Right. That's the problem.
It's dangerous.
It's diabolical. It's a scheme. And if the people who inform them continue to be able to do so, there's no limit to what people will be instructed to do.
Yeah. And it robs us from the present moment.
Right? They
It's
don't
always a
exist.
future.
On some level, they're
Something
dead.
else.
You realize that. They're
What?
gone. They don't exist anymore. People
Whoever
who live
came
in-
up with it?
No. People who live in that world where I exist here, here. This is here. Let's talk about this now. This is ha 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 ha. They themselves emanate nothing.
By
They
emanate, you
have
mean
no
originate?
ideas, right? They're not creative beings anymore. If you're not creating, then what are you? You have met your demise, and merely now you are attached. You are an aspect of something larger, which is why fundamentally they align with the higher power. They become part of something larger, like a blob, if you were to view it more abstractly.
Yeah.
And it has grown to a critical mass. We're surrounded by people of this nature. And people who have more intelligence are told to be quiet and isolated. Most literally now, today.
Yeah.
Right? Don't
Yeah.
talk to each other. Hide your face. Be afraid of all outside. You might die. Matter of fact, everyone can kill you. Everybody. Everyone you see is your enemy now, essentially. They can carry your demise. So fear them on some level.
Yeah.
That's the instruction, isn't it?
It is.
But now continue to return to the safe space that then informs your decisions. I feel so comfortable here. Oh, give me ice cream. Give me drugs. Give me alcohol. Just entertain me. Oh, tell me what to do to then I can get likes on my page.
Yep.
Because people live more life on there than they do in reality. A lot of people don't even live in reality. They show up, they take pictures of themselves, and they leave. They didn't even do anything. I watched this for years of ours.
Yeah.
They show up, they take pictures. They didn't really do anything here. They weren't even really here, basically. They just showed up for a moment. Took it, hey, yeah, look at me. Like, you weren't even having fun.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you were just on your phone getting ready to take the picture. You took the picture, and then now you're just sending it to people.
And the moment's been stolen at that point. It's gone.
That is what the moment has become. That's the whole point of going out.
A cheap substitute, huh?
Right, it's a facsimile upon reality. It's to say that this contrived reality that is built by people who want more power is greater than the reality that in which we perceive here. That feather right there is actually pretty amazing. It's beautiful.
For the person who will take a minute and look at it.
Right. And then we can measure the implication of it. Well, where's the bird? What happened to the bird? This is just part of... Look at, I mean, it grows through the cracks. How is that even possible? These amazing plants, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Life is beautiful. It's amazing. It must be considered. But they don't. And this is fundamentally how then you're just an aspect of this world that has to be dealt with in some way, but not appreciated like the plant and the tree. I appreciate and respect and love the tree and you.
Yeah.
Right? So fundamentally, the whole life view is different.
Yeah.
But those who can't respect your opinion, or your facts for that matter, even if you just give them outright statistical fact, they still won't accept it, some people.
Because
right?
It's apart from the source.
Right. It questions their narrative. And to them, that is who they are.
Yeah.
That defines who they are. And that higher power is informing them to do this.
It's deep.
Well, it's reality.
I have a question for you. So, a couple years back, I started trying to make sense of everything. I started reading through what's called a one-year Bible. Okay? It's the entire Bible, whatever Bible, you know, like the Bible, broken up into 365 days. I know that could be arguably the higher power or whatever. But one of the verses in there that I've been looking at is this one verse in James, and he says this. He says, brothers and sisters, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. And he says because anger does not produce the righteousness that God requires. What are your thoughts about that? He says be quick to speak, quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. What are your thoughts about that?
That's a self-evident truth.
It is, isn't it? If we would do those things, well, tell me what you mean by self-evident truth.
That it is the way that it should be. That it is real. And that we should listen. And just think about it. And not get angry. And if that anger comes, pause. Think about it. Let it dissipate.
Yeah.
Because generally it's irrational. Anger is irrational. Why would I be mad? Why?
Man.
What?
You know what else has been getting me? How much trouble our emotions will get us in.
Yeah.
Oh, if you just respond impulsively, dude, I'd be a wreck. I'd spend all my money. I'd sleep around, like with random, you know what I mean? I'd just chase it. And I'd probably develop many addictions. And it's like, that would destroy me if I chased every emotion I had. Or I'd get in a fight. But just by slowing down, like you said, take a minute, pause. We have the ability to think through it like we're logical beings if we'll let ourselves.
Right, everybody. Every single person.
Yeah.
But it is the construct to inform those to be purely emotional. They're informed to be this way. And they just go along with it. Because people have essentially beat them into that form of submission. And they're continuing this cycle of what is essentially violence. It's totally unnecessary.
Well, and our marketing lends itself to that too. I mean, we can find or pick an emotion and then kind of prod that as we, this is what you need for that. Here's what you need. And we can, we can motivate people with that.
This is poison. Like that's don't eat that. It's gonna make you sick. Think about it.
Yeah.
Don't just feel like, yes, this is amazing. I'm so happy. And then a stomach ache later is like irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter. And then all the other illnesses that come are not even considered, but rather this immediate emotional gratification. Truly, it is a test of our spiritual being. All of this, fundamentally, is that. And those who have strength of character will see through it.
Yeah.
And are impervious. Any attempt. Just like you can't tell me to have this image of, I'm a killer, and I'm just going to go stand on the corner and sell crack. Like, how can you just tell me that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
At all. I'm not going to terrorize my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You can't convince me of that.
Yeah.
And anyone who is reasonable and rational would never go along with it. It doesn't matter what situation we're put in. It doesn't make any difference at all. And there's no justification. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a strength of character test. Perhaps on a grander scale than our reality would ever allow us to conceive.
Yeah. Is that what life's all about?
A test?
These character tests.
That just makes it interesting. We are ourselves.
But yes, but I've been thinking about this. You know, the only difference between me and a plumber is a plumber puts pipes together. The only difference between me and a drug dealer is that drug dealer sells drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a vessel that can do any of these things.
Precisely.
If I wanted to be a killer, I'd take him out. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you sure could.
And then if I haven't killed anyone yet, but if I killed him, guess what I'd be? Like, I have those abilities.
Right.
This is what I've been thinking about as I've been on this kind of this journey, reading through the Bible and trying to figure it out. Is I think that more than God wants me to do something, He wants me to be something.
Yes.
Like, I don't think He wants me to go and like do something great for Him. He wants me to be something great. He wants those small decisions, that character in me. Like, He wants to develop me into something that is not Instagram, but is actually is. Like, is not showy, is not dewy, but actually at the very fiber is.
Right.
I don't know. I've just been wrestling with that one. And it's a shift to think, well, God wants me to do this, to God actually wants me to be this. Like, that I am the finished product that He desires. It takes the pressure off of trying to like do these things and gives me peace. It's just like be whatever God created me to be in a world that He created. Somehow the trees stand and the birds fly and it all works out. But us humans, we cannot seem to figure this stuff out, man. Like the age-old question, can't we all just get along? Seems to be no. You know?
Actually, the answer is yes. It is allowed to be.
Yeah? So you think there's intervention?
Intervention, it's a personal choice. We're free.
Yeah.
The whole concept of freedom. The question is, what do you... I mean, do you harm others? Do you wish for power? Or do you wish merely to contemplate that which is? And be comfortable, I guess, at peace with the world, at least.
Yeah.
And whatever comes of that is whatever comes of that. What is the reason for doing anything? And then how can anyone be marshaled along and indicated that this is the desirable outcome? Why? Why do anything?
Yeah.
Why wake up? Why go that way? Why shop here? Why shop there? Why shop at all? Why not just go into the woods and just stay there?
It's attractive.
All right, there's a lure. And those are susceptible. Some are. It is what it is. And I suppose we're here to be tested in that way.
Yeah.
Because we can take either side of this. And ultimately, what is the construct at play? What's being constructed here? You know? What's really being built on the grander scale? If we could stand back and look at it all, and somehow see all of the world as it unfolds, each variable, each possible permutation of existence, what is the culmination? The answer would be right now. We're in it right now. But that doesn't really answer it.
Well, then it doesn't give us a final destination, and we don't see all the framework clearly. But
well, it's beautiful, and it gives us the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's really it's an infinite probability field that then gives us opportunity as we form ourselves in linear beings emerging in time.
What's your name?
Potts.
Potts?
Yeah.
Mike.
Huh?
It's good. Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Good chatting with you, man.
Excellent.
Where are you from?
For the purposes of this conversation, I originated upon this plane of existence, and perhaps I was just born 20 minutes ago.
Okay. You're the biggest 20-minute-year-old I ever met, and your brain developed very quickly. It's fun chatting with you, man.
Excellent. I'm glad you exist.
I'm glad you exist, too. Thanks for stopping by. So there we have it. We're in Asheville, North Carolina. And there's thinking people here. I'll see you guys soon.